Yep, we're stacked. It is a stacked show. See, how stacked are we? I literally am just sending out the invite to everybody. So, John, hear you there. Thanks for dropping by for another round of SDH AM. I work on my headroom because I had to take the camera off yesterday and I had to do some things as I sit here and sit back in the chair. All right. So here's the deal. It is stacked. In the first half hour of the show, we are efforting a guest. And that particular guest knows about our first topic, and it is the Open Cup from yesterday. Welcome back to the Open Cup and the craziness therein. So we'll have that to talk about in the first half hour. Then Laurel Failer is going to join us. She is, I believe, if memory serves, going to be in her car. But no, she will be in a safe position. It is not going to be it is going to be safe guesting. That much we do know. It will be safe guesting with Laurel Failer coming up about 9:30. She is on her way to FC Cincinnati practice, and so we'll catch up with her and find out what is going on with FC Cincinnati in the international window and who they got and who they don't and who's injured and who's dinged and who ain't and what it's going to look like. So early returns from Laurel Failer at 9:30. Because of that, that means that Tyler slides till after Laurel. Traditionally, that Tyler hangs out with us in hour number one, but because of Open Cup and the possibility of having a guest and what's going on in Cincinnati, Tyler has graciously slid. So Tyler slides till after Laurel, and then at 10:30, it is the return of Dylan Butler from MLSsoccer.com, and Dylan gets to discuss with us what he has seen in the first month of Major League Soccer and all points in between. And then we do have some updates on some things, and we are also anticipating breaking news. And so it's stuff that's already been broken and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, we'll go ahead and we will discuss the broken news when it does happen, and it might actually happen during our time with this particular guest who's getting ready to play pickup. She's getting ready to play pickup at 10 o'clock because she had a very busy night last night. So we bring her in. Yes, what up?
Oh, let's go this way, right?
Yes,
Ooh,
yes, there it is.
Hey, you like my shirt? Isn't this so cool? This is
So-
the Oliver York memorial kit for Heidi, one of the Charlotte FC fans that unfortunately passed away. But I thought, what an awesome kit. And it just feels very apt for someone like me who is, can I call myself a world traveler, John?
I think you can. I think you qualify. You have a passaporte, and you can wander through airports and go for multiple continents and things like that.
But you know, John, something people don't know is that I'm actually terrified of flying, which is
What?
really, yeah, I know. Isn't that so crazy? Like, considering how much I fly, I literally can't stand it. I like spend the whole time squeezing my armrest. I make friends with people next to me just in case I need to grab their arm. But you know what has well, we say this. I have a flight tomorrow, so let's hope I can continue to do well. But I flew back in the storms. I was meant to be at the Atlanta United game, remember? But
Yeah.
my flight got pushed back like 5 hours because anyone that was around knows how crazy that was. When I tell you, John, the plane was like, way. It was like a Six Flags ride. In addition to the fact that the pilot at the start of the flight said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I have a family to get home to, so just know that you are in good hands. I want to make us there safe. It will be uncomfortable, but it will be safe." So fingers crossed now I've experienced that and know you can survive that. I'm in a good place. So that's
Yeah.
my ramble for the morning. Sorry, no soccer talk yet.
No, there's nothing wrong. You have qualified for opening kickoff space, and that is the opening ramble is traditionally where I'll have something going on in my head, and it'll have nothing to do with soccer. So no, the fact that you have flying angst is nothing. It's nothing new for the first half hour of the show. So no, you're all
Okay,
good.
good.
You have performed opening kickoff very, very well. Um,
I'm glad I can share my darkest secrets with people, you know.
Hey,
That's
look, I've got darker and brighter secrets that I share with folks. It's all good.
it.
As of about 9:02 this morning, there was something that has come across from the United Soccer League at USL.
Oh, I saw this last night in the Athletic, if it's the same thing, right?
Yeah, it is the official notification of same information. And so
Woo!
USL is announcing, it says here, header. And this is literally before we get into Open Cup and everything else going on that you got the chance to look at last night. Headline: United Soccer League adopts promotion and relegation system, ushering in a new era for American soccer. So, first professional sports league in the U.S. to adopt this global model, trying to get through all of the quotes. Quote from Alex Papadakis. Last month, the USL announced plans to launch a new Division I league in 27-28, a pivotal step in its vision to establish a fully integrated three-tier professional system. Quote from Paul McDonough. So it looks like it's going to be 27-28. And it passed with the super majority. So you're right now, you're not going to have owners who are going to be like Veruca Salt in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. If they invest all of this money in USL Championship and they stink and they go down to USL League One, they're not allowed to do this, and they're
I
gonna
mean,
have
John, pause. They're allowed to do it. They'll just be
yeah
frowned upon. I mean,
yeah.
it's gonna happen. Let's be honest. They're gonna be upset, but I think it just encourages owners to spend their money and put their money where their mouth is. And if you want a benefit, because there are benefits of pro roll, let's be honest here. And I don't think, I know there's a lot of people that maybe don't like it, but also some that do. I'm someone that's experienced the highs of promotion and the lows of relegation all too well. And there is something really special about your season having a purpose all the way through the season. I think sometimes with MLS, particularly if they do it the way that we see in like League One with 6 spots for playoffs, 2 automatic, however you want to do it, you kind of always have something to fight for unless you really are that middle table one or two sides, but you're always either looking over your shoulder or looking above you, and there's something really exciting as a fan for that. And I've had some really hard times with relegation as a fan, but
Mhm,
some of my best memories also come from
mhm,
promotion. Never playoffs. Playoffs, I have a lot of issues with. For me personally, as Reading, is that, John, we are literally the least successful team in playoff history. So I don't enjoy those moments, but I do. I think it will add, even from a commentator standpoint. Sometimes, like I called decision day last year for USL Championship, but there were games that meant nothing. There were games where I was just like, okay, well, we finish eighth or we finish ninth, and it's like, oh
mhm,
well. I think having some more weight behind games towards the end of the season is going to make my job
mhm.
easier too.
Or you could be Crystal Palace and just sit there and be happy to sit at the lunch table. It's like
I mean, yeah, you're just happy to
yeah,
be there, right? Sorry, I'm like making myself a coffee.
as you
Here we go.
should.
That's good.
It is the other reason that we brought you in, other than the broken news to discuss with USL, is that you got to see the magic of the Open Cup last night. You and Tyler Terrens were on the call for the Westchester Loudon match, which had its own moments of chaos. So let me see if I have this correct from last night. Uh, Westchester had a fight in the 95th minute. Uh,
I forgot about that. Oh my god, that was one of the funniest moments of
it's like
my life.
it's
Oh,
like Ben Mines just grabs a jersey and just like
okay, so Ben, the dude, I feel bad for the guy that got up and like wanted to fight because he's breaking away. Mines grabs his jersey, and it's not just like, you get a cynical jersey pull where you pull and then you like you've killed their momentum and
yeah.
you let go. No, 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 no. Mines grabs his jersey, swings him around like 360. He falls to the ground. Like it was I think I said the word cynical. Like it was cynical. But it was a soccer player moment, and actually it's one of those where, as a coach, you praise the player because of the soccer IQ to break the promising counter attack. Well, Matey pops up and absolutely sprints into mines. I thought it was going to be way worse. And look, letter of the law, could the guy have got a red? Absolutely. But I really liked the way that the center referee handled it and just gave the two guys yellow cards because in that moment, it wasn't going to affect anything for necessary. Well, I guess in hindsight, if Westchester had been able to score an equalizer in the last couple of minutes, then it could have affected something with extra time and players. But no, it was a hot-headed moment, and I'm not gonna lie.
hmm
I'm glad there wasn't a booth cam because I think I might have been like, yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, there's something quite fun. Yeah, literally, John. Did you have a booth cam on me? Because I'm pretty sure I was doing that. I was so excited. I'm
Nothing wrong with
sorry.
that.
I know
Nothing
it's
wrong with
bad, but there's something. It's just something so magical about the cup, right? When you get things like this, it's like as someone that grew up with
that.
FA Cup and like Reading making a deep run one year into the semifinals and all of that jazz. Like, there is something so special about the cup and its madness and its lack of predictability that I absolutely adore.
All right, so let me see. I wrote down some of the other highlights from some of the other matches. So let's see. You almost had another fight at the end of the first half of the Dust Bowl with FC Tulsa and Tulsa Athletic. You had the ending of the Sarasota FC Naples match where Naples had a 1-0 lead. Sarasota scores with a handful of minutes to go, and then Naples scored again to get a 2-1 win. Chattanooga in the 116th minute had a backup keeper in a field position. When it was 2-2 in PKs, the backup keeper who went into a field position ended up kicking the ball in PKs in the bottom of the third. In Asheville and Greenville, in their PKs.
Wait. Did he score the penalty, though?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, good. I'm just saying, goalkeepers as forwards, underrated. Like, I'm about to, I don't know, I brought my gloves. I think I'm looking a bit eager. I brought my gloves with my name on. I brought my shoes. Like, I'm taking this pickup very seriously. But I'm playing with Casey White, like US women's national team player. I need to make sure I represent myself well.
This is what I'm saying.
Goalkeepers as forwards, they understand where it's difficult to save the ball and they're not afraid to. I think the biggest thing is the fearlessness of goalkeeping, right? Like, you're not afraid to put your body in there and get smashed in the face and things like that. So I don't dislike that. I think
No.
that's
Let's see. So Asheville and Greenville went to PKs, and in the top of the first kicker went Panenka. Foro scored in the 100th minute in a match that was 10v10 and eventually would beat Texoma FC by the score of 2-1. And then FC Tulsa won in a match in the Dust Bowl that finished 11v10. And that was just the games that got us to the West Coast where you actually had some calm, and LAG won by 7. And AV Ultimate got their first ever win in club history. So
Can I touch on the Panenka? Like, Panenka in the first round is actually really intelligent the more I think about it.
Yeah.
Because if I'm a goalkeeper, I want to make that first save. And I'm probably going a little early on penalty number 1. So it's like, I think mentally for the shooter, probably a really big gamble because you're like, oh my God, if I set the tone and, chip this one down the middle and the goalie guesses it. But actually, if I put myself in the goalie's position, I think that's the one that I'm most likely to be impatient with. You know what I mean? Because I haven't got my timing up to grab. I'm still going to say it, John. In my game, 2 stutter step penalties in regulation. What are you meant to do as the goalie, John? What are you meant to do? Like, the thing is, like, you freeze, you wait, but then you have no momentum anyway or no speed. Like, I don't know. People want goals. I get it. And like, it was cool that we had goals, but man, in my heart, when I see one of those, I'm just like, fall over, skank it, like shank it, like seriously.
But at the same time, Jess, we have rules where keepers are supposed to hold their line and have a foot on the goal line itself.
Yep,
Y'all
on,
can't
over, or
budge.
behind.
Yeah, but if you're kicking, you can sit there and stop, start. As
Yeah,
long as
and
your
that's the thing.
momentum
Like,
isn't
how are you meant
changed.
to? How as a goalie are you meant to stay on your line? Like, a lot of the time you'll notice it. The times that goalies are penalized for coming off their line, usually it's because someone's broken their run up anyway, and so we're taking that step to push off. And if you took it on time, I would be on my dang line. So, yeah, it's. I understand, like, goalkeepers can be annoying too. Don't get me wrong, and I joke around about this, the 8-second thing, but in a lot of ways, yeah, like, I get it. Sometimes we take liberties, and all it's going to encourage us to do is be really smart with when the ball comes back to our feet and doing the nothing I enjoyed more when I was playing than getting the ball back to my feet, dribbling around the box as the striker would catch me, pretending to go down and pick it up. One time, I'll always remember the striker turned away, like, because they thought I picked it up and I hadn't picked it up. And it was like my favorite moment of my life. Like, not the big saves I made, not saving a penalty, not lifting trophies with Reading. One of my favorite moments was wasting time and tricking a forward that I picked it up already.
Nothing wrong with this. This is what happens when we bring Jess in to bat leadoff, and she's got a pickup game in South Florida coming up at the top of the hour. So, are you calling a match today?
I have USL Super League today, and I am doing color again, which is, it's so funny because I like being like a Jill of all trades, but I've really found myself in my stride with play-by-play lately. So I'm not gonna lie, there was a moment of, oh no, we had to make a switch. Unfortunately, when you've got Open Cup and all those games, I mean, Vista does a remarkable job of rotating so many people into different places, different games, things like that. So I was meant to be doing play by play alongside my good friend Gary Bailey, who, by the way, how cool is it to work with a former Manchester United goalkeeper? I will say that our booth is probably the most educated goalkeeping booth in the league. I mean, just know that we got your back, goalkeeper union. When people, all your other commentators are going to be like, "Oh, it went near post. I should have saved it." No, we're gonna explain why that was really hard for you. So I love working with Gary, but Gary got pulled away for an Open Cup game, so now I will be on color, which is fine. I mean, I can do it and it keeps my versatility. So
As you did last night, yeah.
Super League today, and
Mm.
I'll feel a lot more confident because I know these teams like the back of my hand. That's the tough thing. People don't necessarily realize as a commentator when you're doing Open Cup, amateur teams, like we had a great call with Westchester United's coach Blaze, and he was absolutely amazing. I can't credit him enough, but it's hard to find stuff. You know, it's hard to, I can't tell you about context of what they've done because it's, you know, very difficult to dig that stuff. I did try to reach out to Jason. When Jason didn't have stuff for me, I knew I couldn't find it anywhere in the world. You know what I mean? Like if you ask Jason Longshore, hey, what nuggets do you have? And he says, uh,
Oh.
yeah, then you know that you did your best. So, um, yeah, that's tonight. Then I'll fly home tomorrow. So tomorrow's Thursday. I'll fly home, and then I'll fly back Saturday morning because I got an NWSL game for World Feed, an NWSL game for San Diego Television Local, and then Super League on Sunday. So, you know, and those are all play by play. So I get to rest my pipes a little bit. You know, maybe I need to take a leaf out of Will Pulasik's book and start drinking throat coat instead of coffee, right?
Throat coat right here. I'm right there. So are you doing Tampa and Spokane or Brooklyn and Dallas?
Brooklyn, Dallas. So I did what I love about this one as well is, and this is something that is really nice about Super League because there's only 8 teams. I've done these teams so many times. And the crazy thing about the way the schedule works out, just complete chance, honestly, is Brooklyn played Dallas just a week ago. I called that game. That was a 6-0 win for Dallas Trinity. It was absolutely unheard of that Brooklyn at the time would have lost 6-0. So I did that game literally a week ago. So perfect for me. I know all the storylines. I'm going to go in and it's going to be a really fun game. I really like what Brooklyn's doing. I think it's super cool that the games are in Coney Island. I am glad in some ways I'm not doing play by play with that field because I think on the monitor that could be pretty tough to see, you know, the baseball field.
Yep.
So, um, yeah, so that's going to be interesting. And then Dallas Trinity, the fact they play their home games in the Cotton Bowl is pretty freaking cool as well. So,
Yep.
Super League's been a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to year one being done. I think it's going to be a really cool like year, and there's so much to come. And I don't know, guys. I'm just really hoping, and I'm gonna put it out there. I have zero knowledge. I'm really hoping Atlanta has some professional, you know, top tier women's teams in the near future, right? I wish I had heard something, but you know, surely,
Well,
surely,
go
surely.
go and have a conversation with Mr. Blank because
I mean,
I know that he wants it. So
yeah. I mean, I think we all want it, and getting it at the right time with all the adversity that we faced is so important. You know, I mean, COVID kind of put a spanner in a lot of people's works. So when it comes, it's going to be amazing. Atlanta does everything incredibly. But selfishly, I would really like it 2 months ago. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
come on.
yeah, I do. USL Super League. For those that don't have a chance to watch it regularly, right now it looks like it's two groups. You've got the
Yeah,
five
great, great point.
that are kind of in a street fight, and then you've got Spokane, Lexington, and DC who are trying to fight for 6. Fort Lauderdale and Brooklyn both at 31 points. Goal difference is the margin there. Carolina Ascent at 28, and saw the photos when you got to go hang out at Carolina Ascent, and they treated you as you should. And then
Yeah, that was a wonderful experience. As someone that is used to sitting in a booth, to be able to go and just be spoiled was absolutely lovely. So, yeah.
Dallas and Tampa right now fighting for that 4th playoff spot at 27 and 26 points, respectively. What have you garnered from your first season of looking at USL Super League and seeing what the talent level's like? What are your takeaways?
I think just how difficult it is to build a team year one, honestly. And you've seen different approaches, you've seen different ways of doing it. Having the winter break was super interesting because I think teams have come out looking completely different with the players that they've got. Also, how tough it must be as a team when you build like a quality roster. And unfortunately, USL Super League is tier one. but NWSL is going to pay more money. You know what I mean? So you get players that maybe are doing a remarkable job in Super League and all of a sudden they get pinched and then it changes momentum. It changes the way that you are. So those challenges of how losing a certain core group of players can change you, but then also like growing pains. You've seen a lot of manager changes. DC United and Lexington both have different managers than they started with, and now you're seeing some improvements there. So just year one and having 8 new teams and how 8 new teams can be approached at a completely different level. But the best part for me is just how many talented players there are in America. And I love seeing these stories as someone that had to leave my home at 18 to get an opportunity to continue my soccer at the time because England just didn't have enough opportunities. They had the top tier, and if we weren't going to be starting in the top tier, then it wasn't going to be viable. So the collegiate route was the best way to go. So seeing so many of these players now that at the age I was when I had to make the decision to, leave my family, leave my friends, you know, uh, all of that adjustment period at such a young age, getting a chance to stay home because there are now opportunities is such a cool thing. And then seeing all those players that have been all over the world, they've done it. They've played in Turkey, they've played in Sweden, they played in Germany, they played in goodness knows where else. The amount of team names that I have to look up and pronounce and figure out what country they're in
Yep.
and do my best to find the phonetic is unreal. And it's nice for them in their, early 30s now that they're looking to start families or they're looking to settle down and kind of be done with that they get a chance to come home. So I think the window of opportunity, the opportunity for broadcasters like me that maybe were on the cusp of getting into NWSL, but to be able to now be a predominant voice in a league is amazing, to be a storyteller. And then the cool coaches that are getting to surface themselves out. I just love Jess Silver at Brooklyn. She's so smart. And then Pauline McDonald, and the two of them are going to be battling in my game. And just getting those coaches' calls and getting to know those people as humans is second to none. So just really cool and grateful, like the gratitude to be involved in it year one and get an opportunity to tell those stories is huge. So looking
No
forward to
doubt.
doing it again tonight.
Yep, no doubt about it. And it's always great to see you, my friend. Go be a position player and wear big pants.
I do have look how wide I was born to be a goalkeeper. Like that is a spread. Look how flexible those two fingers are.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, take care. That's my weird hand. Bye everyone. Thank you for having me.
All
I've
right,
missed you all and we'll catch up soon.
all right, be good, Jess. There goes Jess. Some hot tag. Laurel Failer's in, wasting no time. You see, morning. We were just talking to Jessica Charman about everything USL Super League and everything, all points in between, and Cupsets and everything. We were getting into that, and so I saw you pop up in the car. I know we're in an official no dilly, no dally zone when it comes to what we get to talk about with you. And first off, thanks for doing this in your car, Laurel.
No problem. Sorry that do I sound okay? First of all, I guess I should. Okay.
You sound okay. As long as the door's closed and the windows rolled up, then you're fine.
All right. Yeah, I just it worked out nice that I could I'm in a parking lot near the training facility, so I can get to training after this, and
Yes.
we got plenty of time. So happy I could join.
We always believe in safe guesting here on the morning show. So thanks for dropping by. Do you need, how many legal pads do you need at present to figure out who is going to be playing for FC Cincinnati this weekend and who is not going to be playing for FC Cincinnati this weekend?
Yeah, it fills a lot of pages with the absences. So it seems like Atlanta's that way too. So, it could be like a 6-5 game or something with the defenses, especially seem like they're getting hit by the international break and injuries. And FC Cincinnati is going to be, there's a possibility they don't have a single single natural center back other than maybe I think Nick Hagland could be back. We might see his first team debut for the season. Of course, he was injured for the 2024 season back in June and made 2 FCC2 appearances recently. So I think he will be good to go. But otherwise, everyone's either hurt or gone. So, or suspended, I guess. One is a red card suspension.
Right. All right. So for those that have not consumed the roster as osmosis, I'm trying to figure out what the adverb would be for osmosis. But as you have the roster in your head right now, who's gone on international duty? And we can break it down probably by line by the time you've talked about it. But who's gone and who's injured Names, please. We need to know. Inquiring.
Yeah. So the big one is Kevin Denke, their DP forward they acquired this offseason. He is off with Togo for the international break. And then let's see. Teenage Hidabi is one of their center backs. He would have been called into Zimbabwe's World Cup qualifiers, but he actually is off getting his green card. So his status is probably questionable for the next possibly 2 games. Just going to Africa and waiting on a green card process that can be, you never know the timing. So, yeah, challenging. And then let's see, Miles Robinson exited in the 30th minute of the game at Charlotte on Saturday with what it looked like I thought he was holding his hamstring. It might have been his quad. He looked like he maybe could have stayed in, and that's what Coach Pat Noonan after the game said. It was more like it wasn't worth the risk. He was smiling coming off the field, so maybe he's okay, but he wasn't in training yesterday. And he does have a history of some injuries on turf, and Charlotte being a turf field, maybe it was just something got in his head. But so maybe he'll be okay. We'll see. But he's at least questionable, I would say. And then Gilberto Flores, another center back, he got a second yellow card in the game Saturday, late in the game. It looked kind of like just a tangle up, but he was kind of the last line of defense, and his first yellow card could have possibly been a red card if they would have determined it was denying a opportunity on goal, but he will be out. They are not challenging that one. And then let's see, I'm trying to think who else. I should have had this all written out. Let's see. I think that is Stefan Sharilla is another one. He's a forward, homegrown forward. He is off with the Romanian U18 squad. Hasn't really played much, but it is a backup that they could have had in there. And I think that. And then I guess I keep forgetting Matt Miazga because we just haven't seen him yet. That's a big one. He's not back from his June 2024 injury. He kind of got in with the full group a little bit yesterday and seems like he will be back in the next couple of weeks, but I can't imagine that they would run him out for this game, just knowing, he still needs to build up that match fitness, and it's kind of been in his head a little bit. Some discomfort, I guess he was feeling, so not quite confident enough to be back when he had hoped at the end of the preseason.
So, all right, now that we know who's not going to be around, how does this impact in your mind from what you get to assimilate from Pat Noonan on a daily basis? What is that back line going to look like? Any clues? Are they importing everybody from Northern Kentucky University and FCC2 to help out here? What's going on?
Well, they do have some guys that they've used at a pinch last year when Matt Miazga and Nick Hagelin went down. They had to pull some of their wingbacks into a center back role. So I would expect to see Alvis Powell playing center back. He has done it on quite a few occasions for FC Cincinnati in the past. So he would be one that they can count on. Like I said, maybe Miles is back and he surprises us, but I would just have to say, I guess DeAndre Yedlin would be another option. I don't really like him at center back because he's just not tall enough. I just feel like teams have taken advantage of that in the past. And they've already struggled on crosses, even with their taller center backs. So I think that's just probably not their preference. Plus they're going to need him at right back. I think they will stick with, they normally have been playing with 3 center backs while they were navigating schedule congestion with CONCACAF Champions Cup. They did a couple times move back to a 4-2-3-1. And I think we'll see that again, just out of necessity. They just don't have the center backs to go with 3. So I would expect to see a back line of Lucas Engel, Alvis Powell. I'm going to say Nick Hagelin starts, and then DeAndre Yedlin on the right would be kind of my guess.
And so then you mentioned the back line. Let's speed up to the front. And obviously with Nodenke, that puts a big crimp in your offensive thought pattern, but obviously not as much at the back. What are you anticipating up top? In the Laurel Phaler 4-2-3-1, how do you anticipate the 1 and the 3 now that we talked about the 4?
Yeah. So I'm guessing Sergio Santos would start up top. I mean, they could go a 4-3-3 and play more with they've got Yuya Kubo and Corey Baird that can also play forward or kind of as a winger. But if I'm sticking with the 4-2-3-1, I would think Sergio would be up top, and then you've got um, either Corey Baird or Yuya Kubo, and then Luca Orejano on those outside wings, and then Evander there in the middle. So that's the good thing. They do have Evander, their key player in the middle there that they would like to see, I think, get a little more involved. So they're going to need them for this one for sure.
As you read my notes for the questions that I'm asking you here, Laurel Failer from the Queen City Press. Full disclosure, we do support Laurel's work here at Office HQ and Office HD. So with Evander integrating in, where is he right now? Is the relationship symbiotic? Do they know where Evander wants it and what he wants to do when he's passing? Where is that relationship right now, or is there still kind of hiccups in the getting to know you phase?
I think they're still getting to know each other. I mean, the problem was he came so late in the preseason, and then they really were learning on the fly in games while they were playing every 2 to 3 days. They didn't. I mean, they had like 1 day of training every week, so there wasn't a lot of time on the training grounds to really work on those things. And yeah, he's a lot different than Lucho, and there are some new players here that didn't know Lucho, so it's all new for them. But for the guys that were here, I mean, they were kind of used to Lucho just taking over games at times and dribbling through 5 defenders and scoring a goal or making something happen, and that's just not what we've seen from Evander yet. And I think he will be pretty special, and we have seen some really nice moments from him. I just think they need to see him more involved. It just seems like his touches have been so limited. And then even I know Kevin Denke is not going to be here, but just kind of a picture of the offense right now. Kevin Denke, they spent $16.2 million on him this offseason. He has 13 touches in the opposition box so far. So definitely need to be getting their biggest players in better positions to make an impact. And then when they're playing with such a depleted lineup, it's kind of hard to know what to expect as far as seeing some of that progression this week.
Yeah, you mentioned goals, and I would anticipate. I'm with you, where the defensive back lines for both of these teams are going to be somewhat question marks. Atlanta United with Latte Lot, with Miranchuk, with Sabalobjanidze. The offense is going to be there in name for Atlanta United. The offense is going to be there in name for FC Cincinnati. So, of course, the more that we're talking up the offense, it probably ends up being a goalless draw, and the defenses stand on their head on Saturday afternoon. When you look at FC Cincinnati here, first month of the season, what are some of your 30,000-foot takeaways? If you were on the tarmac in Covington, Kentucky, and about ready to take off and then see what's going on with FC Cincinnati, what are some of your takeaways from the first month overall?
I think the fans here need to kind of just scrap the last month, really, honestly. I mean, they just weren't prepared for the start of the season with a CONCACAF Champions Cup run. Based on their preseason, they had guys that didn't show up. They had guys that came way late. They, had to make some roster changes late with Lucho departing and Evander coming in. And then the injuries that I think were hoping like Miazga would be back by now. So it just hasn't gone to plan so far. And so I think I don't take much from the last month. I think the last month was more their preseason, and now is when it really starts because now they have full weeks of training. You would like to see more from the offense at this point just because they did invest $30 million into the attack this offseason. And, Kevin Denke has 5 goal contributions over, 8 games that he's played. So he's done, it's not like he hasn't done anything, but I think they just would like to see more. They've been scoring a goal, no goal. It's been too sparse in what they've done in the attack. And then the defense, we're seeing some of the same things carry over from last year, whether they struggled defending crosses and set pieces, and that's still a weakness for them. They've been really, for the most part, really good defending one-on-one and handling players in the box. That wasn't maybe the case on Saturday, but they had some mistakes. But yeah, I guess I'm kind of rambling, but just I think that now is kind of when the clock starts on their season. That they didn't have a normal preseason. This last month ended up being more them learning together like they would have in a normal preseason, and then we'll see kind of how it goes moving forward. But it's probably a good time for Atlanta to be facing this FC Cincinnati team that is still trying to figure things out.
Laurel Failer, Queen City Press, hanging out with us here to give us the early intel on the matchup coming up this weekend. And Laurel, by the way, because the morning show is what the morning show is, there's nothing wrong with rambling, because all we got is space and time to find out what's going on. So stream of consciousness is always welcomed here. That's never a problem. When you mentioned getting to know you, and it's like nothing like getting to know you in a hemispheric competition. What has it been like for the fans to experience, CONCACAF and Champions Cup and all of its different iterations? What has it been like for the fans to experience this kind of thing as well, added to everything else that's coming into this year?
Yeah, I still think a lot of the fans don't understand the significance of Champions Cup, unfortunately. I mean, it's new for Cincinnati as of last year. So, and there's, they end up running against these Liga MX teams, and I think there's some confusion between Champions Cup and Leagues Cup. They kind of view it as an extension. Not everyone. There are some, fans that understand that it's, not the same as Champions League in Europe, but our version of it. So there's some excitement over, just getting there. And then there's some just like, okay, we got to get out of this and focus on MLS. And I think actually that latter take is probably what people should have had in the first place. Just knowing that, I think they're still missing some depth pieces that they need on the roster. So many things happened late in the off season before they really even got a starting lineup together. That it just, like I said, they weren't really ready for that Champions Cup run. So probably should have been, okay, let's just get out of here and focus on league play. But you don't want to give up on a chance at a trophy and a, Club World Cup bid. So yeah, I think that there's still some learning as far as what it really means to get into that competition here.
All things being equal, where FC Cincinnati is concerned, I know that we all sit there and we look at the star power that's attached, and we know the big names that are there, either imported like a Kevin Denke or the star power that's there. In this matchup this weekend against Atlanta United, taking the stars and the big names away from it, if you were to have either FC Cincinnati fans or, frankly, Atlanta United fans who aren't going to be traveling to see this match, who would be someone on that second level of names that we might have been talking about this morning that is key for the success for Pat Noonan this weekend in this match? Who would you say, okay, if you're not going to focus on the big names, I want you to focus on the not so big names? Who's a not so big name or a couple that you say that would be key to a win or getting points out of this matchup this weekend for FC Cincinnati?
Well, I've been kind of highlighting Pavel Buka this year. He is kind of their 8, plays next to Obi Nwobodo at the defensive midfield spot. And I did the math, and before, let's see, I guess this was before Saturday's game, the 101 minutes he hadn't been on the field, FC Cincinnati gave up 6 goals in that time. And it seemed like they took him off, and then all of a sudden goals, started flowing in for the opponent. So he, I think, has been kind of key to just, he's kind of the glue that doesn't get a lot of attention, but he's actually a lot more involved in the attack this year. He, scored some goals early, and, just has been, I think he's taken a big step from last year. So he will be a key player in there. And then Lucas Engel, their left wing back, or I guess left fullback now. He's on loan from Middlesbrough, but he started off really strong for FC Cincinnati. He looked really good with the way he can deliver crosses in was encouraging. And then all of a sudden, like his crosses just haven't been getting over that last defender, or he's hit it, too long. It's been a little off lately. So him getting back to what we saw kind of early, the flashes, I think is going to be important, because that's something they need to get the ball in the box, and he is a guy that can do that. That's something that I think they really miss with Matt Miazga being out. They don't have that center back that's just sprinkling balls in there for guys to run onto. And I think that's something that Lucas Engel can bring. He can also be he's actually their first left wing back in probably since 2022 when Ronald Matarrita was here before he got hurt. The only like defensive minded left wing back that they've had, it's mostly been, let's turn these wingers into wing backs and see if we can teach them to play defense. Well, he's a guy, and that's what they liked about him, was they can go to a 4-back line and use him at fullback because he is an actual defender. So I think especially with the center backs not being available, he's going to be a key guy for them.
The necessity being the mother of invention. It's like, okay, so I don't have center backs. What do I do? And so that's where we are. So right now, the juice boxes, as we call them here in the morning show, have FC Cincinnati at a -130 on the board. Atlanta United on the road at +322. Your 90-minute draw is at +284 with FC Cincinnati hosting Atlanta United. How would you gauge the rivalry, the competition, where we all have rivals in Major League Soccer? How would you gauge the competition between these two clubs, where natural rivals exist in this part of the country with, say, a Nashville or the Purple Team or Charlotte? Where is Cincinnati and Atlanta as a heated competition when it comes to the rivalry and competition for FC Cincinnati, you think?
I think it's just been a good barometer for FC Cincinnati. I don't know that there's any like hatred or like anything that fans look at as far as like that's a rival we have to beat. But I think for the team, it just seems like whenever they've played Atlanta, they've learned something from it. Like I want to say in 2023, when they won their Shield, I feel like the road game at Atlanta was kind of they had a couple losses, went down there and got a result, and it kind of flipped things for them. And I feel like I could probably, looking back, I would probably need to look back at some of I just feel like there's been a lot of situations like that in this rivalry where it's just been an important game for them to kind of set the tone. And that's what they really need right now for Cincinnati. They're coming off 2 straight losses with a loss to Tigres and then Charlotte on Saturday, and they need something to feel good about. And Atlanta is, even though they're missing a lot of their defense and midfield, there's still some quality players on the field, and so I feel like this could be kind of a tone setter for them.
No doubt about it. All right, for those that do not know your work at Queen City Press and queencitypress.net, if you would please, before you go and head to practice, please cut the promo so folks know where to follow your work and see what you're up to on a daily basis.
Yeah, so I am Queen City Press on Patreon. So all my content goes through that creator content platform. So patreon.com/Queen City Press, or I also have a WordPress version of it at queencitypress.net. I need to get that .com, but someone's hanging on to it. So yeah. And then I'm on social media just under my name. You guys can see it on the YouTube feed here, Laurel Failer on Twitter, and then I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on Instagram, but I don't do much with it. So Queen City Press also, I'm more active just on my individual name. So come find me there.
Exactly. So I need to follow you on Blue Sky now. As always, Laurel, feel free to crash whenever you have something on your mind. I'm planning on turning the final hour on Fridays, the 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. is basically a free-for-all, where if anybody wants to hop in, say their piece for 2 minutes and get out, or 5 minutes or whatever, then they can. It's just like pop in, you come in, you say hi, then you leave. So I'm debating that for 10 o'clock hour on Friday. If you're ever free, you want to sit there and come in and point fingers and sit there and go, this is what's going on. Here's my update and all that kind of stuff. Right. As always, thanks for dropping by. We thank you for engaging in safe guesting. Please enjoy practice, and we will catch up with you soon. Thanks for all that you do up there in Cincinnati, and thanks for hanging out on the morning show.
Thank you. And if I can hop on Friday with any updates, I'll try to do that. But
absolutely, crash the party. That link that you have is universal. That gets you into the studio. So just click on that. You can come in and crash and sit there and wave your hand and sit there and go, "I have something," and then you can talk.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much.
There goes Laurel Failer, everybody. And seriously, if you want to keep up to date with everything Cincinnati, yes, we do. We talked to her about FC Cincinnati. She does stuff on the Bengals. She does stuff on all that. She was heading to practice. She pulled over, and she sat in the parking lot for 20 minutes and hung out with us. And so that's your early intel on FC Cincinnati and everything that is going on with them. So with no Denke, no Hadibi, no Flores, no Shirilla, no Miazga, and maybe no Miles, it looks like some combination of Alvis Powell and DeAndre Yedlin, maybe a Nicholas Hagland, Engel at left back. So you're looking at some kind of combination of maybe a 4-3-3 or something like that. Santos, Kubo, Baird, Evander, or Ejano, Nwobodo, Buka, Engel, Powell, Hagland, Yedlin, and Celentano. So that's what it's kind of looking like right now off the top of our head here with Laurel Failer. Next up in the batting order is going to be Tyler. Tyler will come in. There are a couple of things that I do want to discuss with Tyler. Disco came out yesterday and had a couple of things to talk about. And so I want to lead off with that with Tyler in addition to a couple of other things. But there is something that came out this morning from Simon Evans at Agence France Presse having to do with our breaking news in the first 10 minutes of the show when we had Jess on, where it is now officially official about USL and their intent to pro-rel by 2028. Now, and I'm going to read this from Simon's, and I want to say that this is Simon's LinkedIn account from the typeset. So he's the U.S. sports correspondent at Agence France Presse. Big news in American soccer with USL clubs voting to introduce promotion relegation. I just got off the phone with USL President Paul McDonough, and here are some key takeaways. The big caveat to all of this, that it is contingent on USL being able to launch a new Division I league fully sanctioned by the U.S. Soccer Federation. McDonough made it clear that pro-rel in the current structure D2, D3 wouldn't work as well and wouldn't be authentic. The league undertook extensive research 2 years ago and found that along with having a D1 league, the other issue that would help USL gain more relevance in the market was indeed promotion and relegation. There are investors, including some potential foreign investors, looking at getting involved in USL, and McDonough believes pro-rel makes such a prospect more attractive. There's lots to unpack in all this, a lot of excitement from those who've long argued for pro-rel, but also the caveat of it being contingent on the creation of the new division with the necessary bigger and better stadia, et cetera, to meet USSF standards. It is a big one. USL hope to do all of this by 2028. So that was big stuff from Simon Evans this morning. All right, so let me catch up with everybody and say hi. Good morning. Dell is back. David, we are discussing, but with I wanted to wait until Tyler was here to discuss because of the outrage that would be attached. We are going to discuss. David, do not despair. But I wanted to have the Atlanta United conversation with Tyler and get into those moments. So no, we are going to be getting into that. Okay, so Dell, to answer your question, Jess is working with Vista down in South Florida, and she's calling Open Cup. She's calling USL Super League. She was calling Championship and League One matches. So she's down there with them. And she is calling a lot of things, doing a lot of cool stuff with them, doing a lot of USL activity, and was calling Open Cup last night. And that was why I wanted to bring Jess into the conversation if we could grab her before she went out and played pickup this morning before her matches later today. So that was where we are. We took care of Chaotic Stanza. Morning, Abby. Morning, Alex. And everyone discussing what's going on with the women's team. Yeah, Alex. Pro-rel, how did you come out of the shadows? Dell likes the Tampa Bay Sun. Saw him at TST last summer. There's a lot of interesting folks that are returning to TST this year, by the way. And so, morning, Lockville. Morning, Harry. Yes, I do. I ramble all the time. I absolutely ramble all the time, Abby. Thank you very much. And that is Alex, ramble is an ugly word. Prefer generating hashtag content. Yes. So, and ropes. Anyone notice that Messi and friends conveniently have a bye during the international break? and near impossible to afford a decent lineup in fantasy this season. I know. Literally, I have. So now that Ropes has mentioned it, here was my lineup last week in fantasy, and you're really having to think this year when it comes to fantasy. By the way, here was my lineup last week: Brad, Justin Hack from NYC, Pedro, Kai Wagner, George Campbell. They were my starting. It was my starting back four. Miggy, Evander, Lucho Acosta, Emil Forsberg. Forsberg got me next to nothing. And then my front two were Ty Barabo and Christian Benteke. My bench was Oscar Ustari, Olwetu Makanya, who did really well, and then he ended up getting a yellow card for Philly last week, and then Georgie Manungu and Amari Glasgow, who actually got me some points off the bench. And so I'm thinking of keeping my bench the way that I've got it. Obviously, I need to try and find someone who is not with Messi and friends, just so I can have a backup keeper. So we'll find out. We'll see what the numbers are on that, and maybe grab Hugo Kuipers and see what that's going to look like. But that was my lineup last week. I lost. But no, the fantasy this year, you're really having to put your thinking cap on. You really are having to put your thinking cap on in this situation. So it is intriguing. It is intriguing off the top trying to figure out fantasy this year. And Michael, once again, not in a not in a minority opinion. Bush League to play through international breaks, not fair for the fans as well. And so there it is with all of that. So once again, here's the rundown for hour number 2. It is Tyler, it is Dylan, it is all of us here on a Wall Pass Wednesday. Let me run through the promos really quickly. Once again, you can go to Olive & York, get the Olive & York jersey, the Navy jersey. You can get it personalized. Thanks to our friends at Kaiser Permanente for helping us out there. Thanks to our friends at Beyond Mentoring. Thanks to our friends at Soccer for Good. Once again, you can get it personalized, white letters and numerals or navy blue letters and numerals. That's Olive & York. News with our friends from the Marshall Islands. You can get a Marshall Island scarf and help them out because you really need to now. In August, they're playing their first sets of friendlies in the Outrigger Cup, and it is going to be for a title in Springdale, Arkansas. I think it is Guam, the Virgin Islands, and a fourth team that I can't think of off the top of my head, and the Marshall Islands playing in Arkansas in August for a cup. First ever competition for the last team on the planet to have a national soccer team. So get your scarves, help out however you can. There is a Kickstarter campaign to help fund that week there in Arkansas, and I've retweeted it so you can hang out there and watch that. So Grady Baby Co. You can get the Soccer's Just Better in Atlanta gear, and that is the red sweatshirt, the black sweatshirt, the red t-shirt, the black t-shirt, the Golden Boss quotes SDH here, and it helps out middle school soccer programs attached to Atlanta Public Schools. Also, join us on the Chant app, group.chant.fan/soccer down here /join. You can become a Fanatico. More and more folks are helping out with that. More and more folks and the proceeds go to $10 a year for our Soccer for Good campaign. All the things there. Look, you become a Fanatico, you get to hang out with other Fanaticos, and you get a discount for a resort in Costa Rica. That's how wide-ranging this is. Tires Plus in Alpharetta, Dad's Garage, a lot of breweries in and around North Georgia, and a resort in Costa Rica. You cannot go wrong with this. That's what I'm saying. Now, the man who graciously slid because of earlier content. And so now we bring in Tyler to end hour number 1 and kind of kickstart hour number 2. Yo, dude, what up?
What up? How is it?
You tell me. We're flying around here this morning. Jessica Charman had Open Cup last night where they almost had a fight.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the only one that almost had a fight.
I love this tournament.
That had a fight. We have 11 other matches today, by the way. And literally, we were, we have, you guys have your group chat, I'm fairly certain. And, we have our group chat, and I had at one point 3 different monitors going. Jason had 4 monitors going watching Open Cup last night and all the chaos. And we're like, okay, well, this happened here. And then one of us who's behind the others when it comes to signal strength is catching all of the news that's in the chat late. So let's see. So let me recap. Almost a fight in the Westchester game that Jess called in the 95th minute, thanks to Ben Mines. Had a fight in the end of the first half in the Dust Bowl with FC Tulsa and Tulsa Athletic, and I mean that both figuratively and literally. They didn't have the bouncy house this time, but the center line was crooked at Hicks Park, as was center circle. And the crest of the field made it look like the goal was tilted. As you're watching, the goal was tilted down towards you. It wasn't even, it was tilted.
Yep.
And that was just because of the crest of the field. You didn't have the bouncy house behind the goal to the right, because they actually did put stands in. And if you did hit a clearance that was wide of the target, you literally had the scoreboard that was about this wide, and you almost knocked down the scoreboard. Literally, one of the wide shots hit the scoreboard and almost knocked it over.
Yep.
You had pickups, but no bouncy house. Let's see. At the end of the Sarasota FC Naples match, Sarasota had an equalizer with about 3 minutes to go. Then FC Naples scored, and then you almost had a fight in the end of that one. FC with it's right. And Sarasota is heading to USL League One, so that's a natural rivalry. Chattanooga in the 116th minute, they had a backup keeper in a field position.
Yes, they did. That was a fun one.
2-2 in PKs, and then the backup keeper in a field position came in and converted in the bottom of the third. Asheville and Greenville had a Panenka at the top of the first in their PKs. 4-0 goes to Texoma, where if you hit a ball wide of the target at Sherman Bearcat Stadium in Sherman, Texas, you end up on the highway with the ball. Little help. You have one of those moments.
Heads up.
Yes. 4-0 ends up scoring in the 100th minute, winning that one 2-1 in a minor cup set, second year in a row. They've advanced. FC Tulsa won 11 v 10, and AV Alta won, and LAG won last night. And so today we actually have 11 more matches. The magic of the cup continues. And it is Crew 2. Chattanooga's hosting Corpus Christi. App FC and Boone is hosting One Knox. That one just screams chaos.
Yep.
Messi and Friends 2 and Miami United in the battle of the Miami Viceian jerseys. Like if you've ever gone to Miami United's website, they've done some amazing Miami Vice based Art Deco jerseys in the past. Richmond, Virginia Dream, Lex SC, Southern Indiana, Sporting, Kansas City 2, and Des Moines Menace.
There it is.
All right, so now back me up here. Dax, Justin Miram, Mikey Ambrose, BWP, Sasha Kelgeston. Yes, he is associated with this club. The chaos is there with Des Moines. That's going down, and they're a dog.
Oh,
Ozzy Alonso, yes, and they're a dog at Sporting Kansas City too. By the way,
yeah,
they're a dog at a plus 172 if you want that. Sporting 2 is a plus 120. Little Rock Rangers, Birmingham Legion, El Paso, and Harpos, who I've never heard of before. Real Monarchs and El Farolito. Dangerous for Real Monarchs. You're a deep run NPSL championship club, El Farolito.
Yeah.
Ballard.
They'll bring the burritos.
Ballard and Spokane Velocity in a great Pacific Northwestern rivalry there. And LAFC 2, basically Los Dos in Arizona. That's tonight. And then Tormenta go at it with Harbor City on tomorrow. So ain't nothing going on, yeah?
Nothing at all. I freaking love this tournament so much. This is genuinely one of my favorite times of the year when it comes to soccer.
Because so how many matches were you watching at one point last night?
A lot. I can't even tell you. It was, and I wasn't doing like the multi-screen. Well, I kind of was because I had one on my phone and one on.
I was gonna say I had multiple devices. I didn't have the multi,
But I was trying to like focus on one at a time mainly, and then like keep an eye on other ones.
Oh.
And so the ones that I was early on focusing on was FC Naples and Sarasota, and then I jumped over to the Red Wolves.
Woo, long night.
I got plenty of drama just in those two, but then keeping an eye on the other ones as well. Red Wolves. You get to the penalty shootout, and one of the guys who missed theirs for New Jersey. If you watched the game, behind the one goal, it looked like something out of like South America. You had people just sitting on this like 15-foot high wall, just hanging out, watching the game. And all this is really cool. Well, guy skies one of the penalties. And I'm like, I don't know if that guy that was sitting on the wall made it, because it was headed right towards him. And if he fell, he had a long way to go. And then you had, a fight. You
Mhm.
had one guy get fouled and literally on, I don't know if you saw this, but on the way down. So he gets clipped, right? It was an obvious foul, but he gets clipped. And on the way down, he goes to grab his shin as you do and does a front flip onto the ground.
I was not aware of this one.
It was amazing. And it was so like, nobody brought attention to it, but like he gets hit and grabs his shin, and on the way down, like he's like, ow, ow, and then he rolls forward. But like it wasn't a, like a roll you see in like a tumbling class in gymnastics. It was like a full-on little front flip.
Oh,
And
wow.
he lands on his back and rolls back to his seated position and starts crying. I was like, this dude, I love this tournament, man.
Oh, wow.
It's so much fun.
Okay, so yesterday, and this was the main. Everybody was like, "Well, why didn't you lead with this particular topic?" Well, it's because you weren't here. So yesterday afternoon, I'm in traffic. I'm going to get a wheel alignment, and I had to because the Subaru was a little loose, in its behaviors. So yesterday, Disco comes out with their most recent round of decisions, and the most recent round of decisions drew the people's eyebrow, at least in one particular instance. Here is how it was phrased by the MLS disciplinary committee following rulings after match day 4. The MLS disciplinary committee has fined Atlanta United midfielder Miguel Almiron for violating the simulation embellishment policy in the 41st and 81st minutes of Atlanta's match against Inter Miami CF on March 16. All right, taking it piece at a time. So Miggy gets an envelope. We apparently find this out in traffic yesterday. So because traffic was what traffic was as I was on my way to my wheel alignment, I started scrubbing the match on my phone. And so I see the announcement come out, and I go, okay, so match. I scrubbed the match, and I'm looking for it. Took me a couple of minutes to find it on Apple. So I go to the 41st minute, and I see the incident where apparently the first incident of 2 where Miggy got an envelope from the league office. Now, correct me if I'm looking at the wrong thing. The only thing that I saw involving Miguel Almiron in the 41st minute of that match against Messi and friends was Noah Allen grabbing Miguel Almiron with his left, coming across the jersey, grabbing the jersey, and Miguel, doing the professional thing and falling to the ground. If I'm not mistaken, and please tell me if I'm watching the wrong match, if I'm in the wrong 41st minute, if there was a bizarro 41st minute that I'm not aware of.
I mean, you might have been the way that they're on.
Noah Allen, if I'm not mistaken, in the particular match that I was scrubbing on my phone from Apple TV, I believe Noah Allen got a yellow card for that particular action against Miguel Almiron. Am I recalling that I scrubbed the right match?
I think so, but this match existed in its own bubble in the multiverse, so I don't know. Half the decisions in this game have left me with less IQ points than I have.
Dumbfounded would be one of the things that I was like. I was confused a lot.
I think because I try not to rant, and I will preface it by saying this, and I've said it every time we've done a show since Sunday.
Sure.
Don't throw things at refs or anybody.
No.
Please don't do that.
No, we got into that.
Yeah, don't do that. It is bad. It is it's not humble, it's rude, and it's potentially painful, and it can potentially lead to bad repercussions.
Yes.
It's just not very nice.
True.
Human-like.
Yeah.
You can express your grievances
Mhm.
on that wonderful place that we refer to as social media
Mhm.
or whatever.
Mhm.
That being said,
the
refereeing this weekend in all of MLS was awful.
Whew.
Objectively awful.
Mhm.
Like, it was really bad. And I mean, I think, the Atlanta game this weekend, like, did it necessarily affect the outcome of the game? No. I mean, there were some free kicks that Atlanta should have had. You never know what could happen with those. And there are some free kicks that Miami absolutely should not have had. but they didn't convert on those. They converted on the dumb chances that Atlanta gave them. Whatever. But then you go and you look at some of the embellishment and simulation and shenanigans that happened in this match, and that is the one that you pick to give somebody a fine on. That is, it's almost like adding salt to the wound, because it's like you know good and well that this match was not refereed well. Like, it was just a bad day at the office. It happens, whatever. But like, I don't know how you then go and give a fine for that. But there were a handful. You had one Miami player, and I think it was Falcone, who at one point, you want to talk about embellishment.
Yeah.
He looked like he was throwing literally a 5-year-old temper tantrum on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, kicking his legs up and down like he was in the worst pain ever, whatever. We all know it's an aspect of the game that some players, Suarez, play up a little bit more than others. But like, the selective punishment is what irritates me.
Mm-hmm. And then, so we marked that moment. So Miggy is given a half of an envelope for the incident in the 41st minute where Noah Allen gets a yellow card.
Yep.
So Noah Allen gets a yellow, and then Miggy gets an envelope, or at least one sentence in the envelope saying, okay, well, on this particular play, Noah Allen got a yellow card, but you get a fine for embellishment. Then the 81st minute incident, and I'm going to go back because, like I said, once again, and I will ask, if I was scrubbing the wrong match or what. I just, like I said, I was going in and I was like, I'm thinking that perhaps I might have been looking at the wrong match.
I'm going to pull, while you're doing that, I'm going to click here. So if you start hearing sounds from a game.
Yeah, no, do you think? Yeah.
That is what it is. But
Yeah.
I'm trying to see.
Yeah. The 81st minute incident. And once again, I'm trying to go back because once again, I scrubbed the match, or at least what I thought was the match, and went to the 81st minute. And I think I was literally at the intersection of Briarcliff.
Oh, they got multiple angles of it. Oh, buddy.
Mm-hmm. So you're looking at the incident in the 81st minute, correct?
Yeah. So
if you would please, sir, elaborate for the rest of the class.
All right. So Miggy, that's what we're calling. Okay. All right. So 81st minute, Miggy is initially on the ball. Brooks Lennon's on the ball. He plays it to Miggy. Miggy goes to dribble in, plays it to somebody. Can't tell who that was. It's played right back to Miggy as Miggy's running inside towards the top of the box. And he is not touched. I will say it doesn't look like there's a touch. The Miami player steps in front of his stride. Absolutely. So he had to move his leg to get out of the way. Doesn't look like there's contact, but then Miggy does go down.
But the end result of the play was a foul called on Messi and friends.
Yes.
So in the 41st minute, you have an instance of a Miami player, a Messi and friends player, some of the and friends. One of the and friends gets a yellow card.
Yep.
Then Disco comes around and gives an envelope, and it's like, no, that was embellishment. Then in the 81st, Miggy has the ball near side edge of the 18. He cuts inside, and he wants to line up his left foot. The end of the result of the play is a foul by an and friend, which results in a set piece, I believe, for Atlanta United. Yep. But that also is the second half of the embellishment that you end up with from Disco. Oh, my blankety blank. So Derek Williams, by the way, on a great tackle of Lionel Messi.
Dude, I am so irritated about that call. I have been on one about that call since it happened.
I figured you'd be on more than one, but okay.
I mean, I've definitely been on more than one. That pissed me off. It really did. And that was kind of where it started for me in this match because it was so early on.
Mm-hmm. Sets a tone and sets
a tone. You get it wrong, you get it wrong. All right. And then I'll talk about it, but then you fast forward to this 81st minute thing, right?
Mhm.
It almost feels like now Drew Fisher is just throwing up calls, throwing up cards, fouls, whatever. So willy-nilly.
Willy-nilly.
It's been so inconsistent through the prior 80 minutes that nobody knows what a foul is anymore. And I don't even think he knows what he should be calling anymore. It was just that bad. And like, you go back to the thing with Derek. Derek, that was one of the cleanest tackles on Lionel Messi I've ever seen in my life. He got the ball. I mean, definition. And I understand, like, just because you get the ball doesn't mean that it's not a foul. However, it's only when you come in with, a little bit of extra contact, whatever, in those situations where you can legitimately call the foul on the person who won the ball. That was not this situation. He won the ball, all of it. And there was hardly any contact, if we're being honest.
Right, Derek got there first. There's a beat, and then Messi goes over the top.
Exactly. And it's like, you didn't just get this wrong. You absolutely royally shafted this call.
You got it wrong. There's a difference between getting it wrong and you got this wrong.
It was so bad. And, it's frustrating. Again, it doesn't change the outcome of the game necessarily.
Tyler is apoplectic.
It's so irksome. And like, that's my soapbox. And y'all, I know I've said it on here before. I've said it on my show a million times.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're going to call the game soft, hard, let them play, whatever. Just freaking do it the whole time. Do it the whole 90 minutes. So everybody, not just the players, but especially the players, know what is a foul and what's not. I mean, we're in the press box, which admittedly, you don't always have the best view, right? As somebody like in the 100 section of an angle of, a foul or whatever. But just about everyone that night that I can think of that was called, I go back and I watch the replay because it's delayed right there on the monitor in front of us. And I'm like, my first reaction there was absolutely correct. Like, that's not a foul, or that should have been a foul, whatever. It just I don't know, man. It was just a bad week at the office for Pro. And then this is like the icing on the cake to go and then find Miggy twice over something like that after both times he was the one fouled. Like, so you're either A, you're admitting that your referee got the call wrong twice,
or there's vindictiveness over retro. It's like retroactive vindictiveness.
Yeah, it's like double jeopardy almost. I don't know, man. It nothing about it makes sense to me.
No, that is true. So you end up with those, and if I were, and I don't know who is responsible for the fine paying at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground, and I don't know the next time that you're going up there. Maybe you could catch up with Chris Henderson or Garth Lagerway and find out if they are going to send a Brinks truck to wherever you're supposed to send the fines and do it in pennies.
I would love that.
If you could find a bank.
That's my kind of style for sure.
Where you could sit there and it's like, Mr. Lagerway, and the league office said, Mr. Lagerway, what you could do, sir, is you could Venmo, or you could PayPal, or you can cut us a check, and then you have the front office, you have Hendy or Garth says, no, we got it covered. And then to New York City, to the MLS offices or wherever Disco is stationed, you just have like 9 Brinks trucks go up to the curb, and they all have the bags like in the old 1980s movies, like the bank deposits, And it's just like here's your fine, clank, right there on the curb, and you just have all of these like mail bags that are filled with pennies that fill up the fine.
All of them, like all 2,000. I wonder how much the fines are.
Yeah, see, that's the other thing. Is it like 50 grand or something, or some number like that, or is there a sliding scale or something like that? But this to me would be one of those instances where you pay in pennies and you pay the freight for the Brinks truck, or you find a local bank. You said there's like, I need to rent like 9 Brinks trucks. Do you have it in pennies? You know, one
Yeah.
of those, you know, go wandering up to the Chase Bank at Times Square. Can you convert this to pennies for me, please, and deliver it to
All of it.
X address?
Or you know, make it fun. Make it a mixture of all coin varieties.
Oh, see?
Then there's at least gonna be one coin in there that throws your math off just a little bit.
Mhm.
You know, I wish in situations like this, the ref in charge of this game, I think they should give them 2 options.
Mhm. Timeout?
Well, I mean, which timeout does kinda happen, but it definitely doesn't make anybody feel better when it's not really.
Spoken like a dad.
Yeah, when it's not it you find people and you shout it from the rooftops, right, that you're
Yeah.
finding somebody for embellishment. If pros screwed up, if your referee screwed up, fine them. And I understand they're not making as much money as the players, so fine. I understand that
They
argument.
did, but they did get a new contract.
Then they need to come out. The ref in charge for that game needs to come out and say, "Hey, yeah, I got that call wrong, I got that call wrong, and I got that call wrong." Just own up to it.
Yeah.
Like in the Portland game,
Oh.
I think it was Lucas Spalla, I believe.
Yeah.
Dude, you like come out and just be like, "Yeah, man, we effed that one up," even though we have multiple angles of this happening. Like, I just want some accountability. Just own up to it, right? If you're gonna find Miggy, I get it, whatever. But don't it's just the optics, don't do that after reffing a game in the worst possible way. It just irks me.
Other than that, yeah. And I know that you have to go to a conference call for like other things. How much more time do I have?
I got a little bit. You're good.
Okay, because Dylan Butler is going to join us at the bottom of the hour, and
Okay.
it'll be the official return of Dylan Butler to our Wall Pass Wednesdays. But now that we have aired out the dirty laundry involving the gentleman in the black and yellows, what has it been like for the SNS audience ever since Sunday? So you've had Sunday, you've had Monday, you're going to have tonight. What is the vibe been like over at SNS with everybody?
It honestly, it's been all over the place. We've had so we have the comment section on the website for articles, and especially after games, sometimes those get, very opinionated, which is great. And I saw a little bit of everything. I saw, oh, Dyla's not the guy. And I'm like, I don't think we're it's really early for that conversation. I think Dyla's actually doing a pretty good job. Then there's a lot of people, kind of in that boat that says, these were some of your tougher home games that you're going to have.
I mean, your first 6 matches of the season, everybody was in the playoffs last year, weren't they?
Yeah, of course. So, and then you have the other people who are like, guys, it's the 6th game, 4th game, 5th game, whatever. Like, we're just getting rolling. The Red Bulls made it to MLS Cup last year, having not won a game since I don't even know when it was.
Well, but I mean, they only won 3 times when they didn't have Emil Forsberg in the lineup. They get him back in the lineup, and then they run to MLS Cup. I get it,
Yeah, but I think that's the thing. I think everybody's just kind of annoyed. I think would probably be the prevailing attitude. I think it's just like, it feels like a lost opportunity, because it's not like you just got out there and got the brakes beat off of you. You really played a pretty decent game, but you just had a couple of dumb mistakes that cost you. And that's, I think, why people are so irritated, because it's just like, if you put that in one cup, that is the same cup that you've had for a couple of years, because it feels like, oh, you're the better team. Because I genuinely think Atlanta looked better. You just had Miami that capitalized on 2 really stupid opportunities. It felt like the goal that was called offside, and shout out to Brooks Lennon, because I thought his return was phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
I feel like that kind of took a little bit of the wind out of the sails, and then they just couldn't quite get back into it. And
has anybody really looked at that and broken it down with a proper angle? I know that you need definitive evidence to do a VAR flip on that, but has anybody had really a chance to? I mean, I may have to go back and scrub a
I
game.
saw it.
Amazingly, oh yeah, okay.
It was his shoulder. I mean, it was like basically head and part of the head and shoulder that was off. I mean, again, because we were at that point in the game already where I was like, wow, refereeing is really bad here. I want to look at this replay. And so I was making it a point to go and look back at the replay for that one because I was like, that was close. Like in real time, it was really close. And then you go back and see that they didn't show the line, like they didn't draw the line, but you could tell the lines on the field.
Yeah.
He was partially offside. Now, we'll talk about the handball and other stuff in the box later on.
Yeah, I didn't have a definitive angle. I didn't see a definitive angle from television about Redondo. I think it was Redondo, where it looked like Redondo initially was tucked, and as it goes away, then it's like, oh, the moment's passed, and then you release your arm, and then you get contact. I think that was Redondo inside the 8.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, what is a handball anymore? Like,
what is a handball?
I've seen it called both ways. But I think at that point, you know, when you get so irritated at somebody that you don't like anything they do anymore, like
I want nothing to do with you anymore. We're through.
Like they, Drew Fisher could be down there like eating cookies, and you're like, look at this freaking dude eating cookies, like, and you're just irritated with him.
Eating the wrong cookies. He's eating macadamias. Like what? Who wants macadamias in their cookies?
Right. Like, what are you doing? You know, why does this irritate me? And it's because I think everybody's just so irritated with the refereeing at that point. You're like, dude, it should be a penalty. I don't know. But just be more consistent. I'm not going to get back on that soapbox
because you have to go. Yeah. So, I mean, it was an adventure, and it always seems to be an adventure with Messi and friends when they're in the building. And Lionel Messi seems to have re-injured his adductor, and it looks like the moment was when he was, as you're watching, left to right as you picture the match, he has the one opportunity that's missed to the near post, and then he and Brad dap on the way by. But you could kind of tell that Messi was kind of like, after it happened. You saw the look on his face. He's like, well, that happened.
Yeah, a little tweak or something. And of course, Atlanta will get blamed for it, as they have.
Well, I mean, what I'm seeing in the Twitch pitch, apparently, where folks are sitting there and ishing all over the surface now.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
Uh-oh.
I think this is my conspiracy theory.
Sure.
I don't really feel like it's much of one, but this man was out for a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Inexplicably.
Well, yeah, 3. Mm-hmm.
Relatively, yeah. And then he makes, a second half appearance down in Jamaica when they played Cavalier.
Mm-hmm.
And he's all right, whatever. And he gets his little goal at the end.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, well, clearly he's not just resting until the international break. Why has he not been playing this entire time?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was resting and then ramping up with that first appearance in Cavalier. Then you come and play in Atlanta, and then you're ready for CONMEBOL.
Yeah. But if you're not injured before that, like, why do you need that much time to build back up? I guess, but then this happens, and it's like, I think there was something bothering him already, and maybe the way you tried to take the shot, twisting almost 180 degrees in your upper body, is probably what pulled your adductor, not the turf or Atlanta or whatever. Like, now you're going to miss out on the international break. So clearly he's injured. If he's not going to Argentina, like, he hurt himself. But I think maybe he was already injured. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just a thought. Cut the promo for me before you get out of here.
Yeah, we'll be on at 7 tonight. We have 7 p.m. over on the YouTubes and the Twitter or X, whatever, and Facebook.
Yes.
So we'll have Michele Giannone on tonight.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
The pronunciation for his name has always been a point of contention.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I've heard everything, but it's like literally when you go to Michele, it's like, all right, so when your mom's mad at you, what does she say? Literally, that's what I do. When there's a guest or someone that I'm trying to catch up with for the first time, because I've literally heard it 19 different ways. Like, look, I've heard it 19 different ways. When your mom's mad at you, what does she say?
Yep. What is it?
Yeah,
Just-
what is it?
But it is Michele. So we'll have Michele on tonight.
Nice.
And yeah, then we're just getting ready for the weekend. We're gonna do a watch along over on Patreon for the game up in Cincinnati, and yeah.
Okay. So do you feel revved up now that you're heading into your meeting for the actual parts of your life that pay for the bills that pay for all the other things? Do you feel?
Yeah, now I'm gonna go in there and scream about pro referees.
Get a scream about pro referees for a half an hour.
Everybody's gonna be like, "What are you talking about?"
Well, I was on a show before I came on here, and we were just venting our spleens. But yes, the magic of the Cup continues tonight. 11 more matches that we'll be watching on multiple screens all over the place, and round one continues. An Open Cup. Envelopes appear at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground and all points in between. As always, Tyler, enjoy your meeting. And if anything happens, just let us know and keep us posted. Maybe you could put up a screen or something and just have us kind of watching secretly about you venting your spleen about pro and everything.
Yeah, the booth cam.
Yeah, we need booth cam sponsored for you so you can actually do all that kind of stuff. Enjoy your meeting. We'll catch up soon.
See ya.
Bye. All right, so that's Tyler. And so actually, you know what? I'm going to do this. Let's have some fun. So it's been a while, and now it's time to welcome him back. Our traditional 10 o'clocker is at 10:30 this time around. We welcome back the man who's in charge of Dylan Butler Estates, the new home of NYCFC, Dylan Butler. As always, my friend, great to see you. Welcome back. I know it's been a while.
Yeah, thank you. And wow, the changes that you've made around here.
We went shiny restream is what we did.
Very, very nice.
Yeah, we did, and we were
You spruced the place up a bit.
Yeah, we did. With the graphics, not with the talent, because it's the same old morning show ain't never changed, brother. What I wanted to do with you this morning is I wanted to talk about the first month of the season in Major League Soccer, and I know that you got to stare at what's going on over at SI Stadium. Can we call it SI Stadium, or do we have to actually use the official long title?
It's always RBA for me.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's always Red Bull Arena. But I know that your focus is with the team that plays inside SI Stadium and the team that is getting ready to play in your new building in Queens.
And actually, sorry, John, you're lining me up here, but
I am.
I was just thinking this, right? So we always thought RBA, right? It's RBA forever.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder, are there any stadiums, whether it's in this sport or others, that will just never change from not having the corporate sponsorship? Like for me, I'm thinking like I'm a Yankees fan, right? I cannot see that being anything but Yankee Stadium.
Absolutely.
Now maybe you have, I don't know, Delta Field at Yankee Stadium or something to that effect, right? But like they kind of do at Mile High Stadium, but I can't see Yankee Stadium ever being anything but Yankee Stadium. Like Fenway Park is Fenway Park, right?
Correct.
Wrigley Field is Wrigley Field.
Yes.
So I just wonder if there's any in our sport that would have that.
Well, I mean, if you, and this is tied to a sponsor, but I would always think that Bayern's going to play at Allianz. I mean, that's just how we've always referenced, that Bayern Munich always plays at Allianz with the fancy lights and everything. Old Trafford, I think, is going to be Old Trafford unless Sir Jim Ratcliffe sees a revenue stream there. And it's like you probably will have the field like we're talking about. I think that Old Trafford probably will be so-and-so field at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
I could see that coming to try and help the bottom line and bring the Glazers kicking and screaming into actual revenue. Like
they did that up for us, St. James Park. It's what is it? Something Sports Direct.
So Sports Direct Field because that was when Mike Ashley had the big letters on the stand immediately across from the television cameras, and
right.
Sports Direct at St. James. And by the way, congratulations on the trophy. I mean, that's pretty strong.
Yeah, man. I was thinking about you because I was watching it, and I was, getting some moisture in my eyes a little bit, and I started thinking, I'm like, this is like, what is this trophy really? Like, it's the first trophy in 70 years, but honestly, and for me as a fan, it's been like 30. But I'm like, on it, like it could be the Cracker Jack Cup. I don't care. Like, we won something.
This is the Gummy Bear Cup by equivalent, but
We
yeah.
won something like that. We haven't, we haven't won anything. So to win something, right?
Mhm.
Is nice. So
And Darren Eales got to sleep with the trophy, and we posted that pic, and he posted that picture to social media. So that's what we're used to seeing here in Atlanta and now at Newcastle. And obviously, with his health issues that he's been battling, it's great to see
yeah,
Darren on camera hugging a trophy.
yeah, agreed.
When you look at the first month of the season in Major League Soccer,
Yeah.
I guess what's the Dylan Butler GBU? What's the good, the bad, and the ugly from the first month of the season here in Major League Soccer?
Yeah, we'll put them in that order, right? We'll start with the good. Certainly San Diego, right? Look, you don't have super high expectations for almost any expansion side. There was obviously a lot of curiosity. Chucky Lozano goes out, and like in a game and a half,
He goes out.
right? Now you really have no expectations, and it's a team that, look, is it sustainable? I have no idea, but they're off to a great start. They won both of their road games, which is super impressive. They haven't scored yet at home at Snapdragon, but they haven't lost either. So I think that's certainly good. I think Vancouver very much, right? Like, I've always been, that I've always been a big Ryan Gauld fan. I always kind of thought, like, he's super underrated. Brian White, super underrated. They're like Vite, super underrated. So they're getting, they're just due. And I was on the MLS desk, when they beat Monterrey, and not gonna lie, I was like, this could be a really ugly night for MLS. Like, LA Galaxy, losing Costa Rica. Granted, they're home, but now Vancouver, they had to gut out a draw, but they gave up an away goal, and now they go, to Mexico. Granted, not when Monterrey play their home game, but it's still in the country they play in, right? So didn't have high expectations for them, and then they just like took over that match, and like they just for all of the games so far, that's been the most impressive. And again, they're doing it without their guy as well, and Ryan Gauld, right? So two teams on different ends of the spectrum that maybe there weren't a lot of high expectations for to start the season have answered the bell in a big way. So I think the best early season stories, I think, are certainly out west. The what was the middle one? The good, the bad.
The good, the bad, and the ugly. The good old GBU.
Yeah, it's hard to separate the B and the U. But I would say yeah, I mean Toronto,
Oof.
New England, yeah, not good there, right? San Jose had a little bit of that new coach bump at the beginning. Are they kind of coming back to their reality a little bit? We'll see. Certainly a loss. Houston as well, a team they didn't like. They lose two massively influential midfielders. They didn't really replace them. I'm a big Jack McGlynn fan. He's from Queens. I'm a Queens guy, so I root like hell for him. But I don't think they did enough, Houston, in the offseason. So they're less of the, I think the really bad and the ugly are the teams, like I mentioned, in the East there, especially Toronto and New England. And then you hear the Caleb Porter presser, and he's like, I don't know, like.
So a week after Keep the Faith, he's like, oh,
It's like, I don't know. And that was a rebuild that,
yeah, we'll bring in Leo Campana, and how's that working for you, Slick?
Yeah, exactly.
He's dinged. Toronto, I mean, Robin Fraser, by all accounts, anybody you talk to, Robin Fraser is a fantastic guy.
Yes.
Literally, he's
Like Chris. I mean, Chris Armas is the greatest guy in the world. Like, there's no, but like below him in the pecking order of like that you won't hear anything bad out of from anybody is Robin Fraser for sure.
4 matches, 10 goals allowed.
Yeah.
Last time my math is available, that's 2.5 goals a game allowed. You've scored 5, and apparently the fans in Toronto have now even gotten to the point to where they are saying F Lorenzo Insigne, and Insigne is playing in front of them on the pitch at BMO when their fans are saying this. So once again, class just decides to rear its head in these situations. But I know they were trying to shop him in the off season. Apparently, they couldn't find a buyer or a buy rate that they were looking for. But yeah, I mean, you look at New England and injuries and who they brought in Toronto and who they don't have and what they need right now. It seems like those two. Bless you. And by default, CF Montreal, soon to be Impact, hopefully, probably never, thanks to you, Joey Saputo. You're 3 for 3 in those. Montreal didn't replace anybody. Houston didn't replace anybody. New England tried, but it seems like half of the roster ended up out west, and so you have Revs West in San Jose with Bruce Arena. The bottom of the East is already separating itself from everybody else in the Eastern Conference, and the West isn't far behind.
Yeah, right. The spoon is
Can you give out multiple spoons?
you could have one. You could have some poutine with your spoon, I guess, or in Montreal, perhaps. Yeah, no, they are. And look, LA. Like, you look at the bottom. There's a lot of teams on 1 point, right? But that's the team you kind of like. Well, look, let's just give them a flyer, right? Like, they're going to get better. They're going to get healthy. You take, a best 11 guy off of any field, right? A potential MVP. Yeah, that team's going to struggle. So I think, they're a team that you think, yeah, they'll be better for it. And SKC, they're right up there as well. Again, it's, I feel like, if you have some fancy editing software, you can just cut and paste our comments from even 2 years ago about SKC, and they are the same now, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't, they had a run. They went too long with those players on that run, and they're paying for it now. So, they're another team too that, granted, great comeback, but not good enough for sure at the start of the season.
I mean, Joey Tribbiani, for those that remember their Friends trivia, in the pilot episode, the first episode of Friends, was trying to talk to Ross. And he's talking about grabbing a spoon. There's a lot of flavors out there, like Rocky Road and Bing, cherry vanilla. But this is not the kind of spoon that you want to grab out of the blocks here. And you look at a team like Sporting Kansas City, where I swear to God, and we talked about it yesterday, literally, you're down 3-0 at the break. And I'm sure there were a lot of folks that were sitting there going, okay, where's my shovel? And where's the dirt? And I can sit there and just kind of go like on Peter Vermes. And then the Sporting Kansas City that I think a lot of folks were looking for at the beginning of the season when they brought Dejan Joveljic in for $4 million. In that 12-minute span, you saw the Sporting Kansas City that a lot of folks were staring at that you've only seen for 12 minutes in the first 4 games.
Yeah, it shouldn't take a 3-goal deficit at home to bring out that fighting spirit, should it?
No. So I don't know about Sporting. I don't know which Sporting I'm going to get on a daily basis. You mentioned Houston, and I think you're spot on about the idea that they didn't quite, they didn't replace Coco Carrasquilla, and the one at the bottom that you kind of stare at and you go, huh, and you look at the standings and you're like, man, you're right. LAG is at the bottom of the standings in the West, understandably so, but you would have thought that with the capital investment portfolio that LAG had, that they would have found ways to get around not having Joveljic and Paintsel and Puig and figured out a way to put at least a bandage over the lack of killer piece so you're not dead blank and last in the West.
Yeah, like I said, they're that one team I do actually give a bit of a flyer to, but for sure, I think they're still looking to also fill some holes, right? Like, at the number 9 position, they've got their wingers now, which we begged them to get for years as well.
Mhm.
They have a killer number 10, but they need to, they need to figure out that number 9 spot now. Like, it was 2 guys for so many years, and then Chicharito left, and then the trade to SKC. But yeah, they need to figure that spot out as well. But again, I do have confidence, like, when they're coming off an MLS Cup championship, like I don't like they've proven they could do this kind of thing. So I'm New England and Toronto in recent years has not.
No.
And for Robin Fraser, I feel like it's like, he's like on Zillow and he sees like this beautiful house, like, oh man, that is. But like it's a fixer upper though, like it lists it right. Like
It's a money pit. You're
needs
describing
help.
money pit with Tom Hanks and Shelley Long. That's what you're doing.
But then, like, he goes in, he's like, all right, we got a lot of work to do. But oh, wait a minute, hang on. This mortgage, like, what is the interest rate? Like, oh my God, we can't even. All right.
Philly is another team for me that I sit there and go early on. It's like, who are you and what have you done with Philly? Because Bradley Carnell, you would have anticipated that from the Red Bulls school, it would have been very Red Bullsian, or at least Red Bulls light with the press, like we saw with him when he was at All Caps before he got booted out of there after starting second season. But who is Ty Baribeau, and what have you done with Philly's offense, sir?
He's such a great story to start the year. To give a maybe a little preview to fans, like I think our Charlie Baum spoke with him, and we'll have a fun feature on him, I think, in the coming weeks. But great backstory, like super interesting guy. But yeah, like think about it, right? Like he comes in under Curtin and he's like what, 3rd or 4th even on the depth chart at that time?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Doesn't get run. Like you're like, why did Philly get this guy?
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly other guys just don't do the job, and he comes in and he's crushing it, right? He's killing it. What I think, and on MLSsoccer.com, there's a new feature that BWP put up about the goal scorers and about their numbers. And I think if you look, he's got 6 goals on 7 shots. That's obviously not going to continue to happen, but
that's insane.
Yeah.
That is not the way that things are supposed to be when it comes to your statistical. Okay, so
and with Parnell, they're playing that system, that Red Bulls-esque system to a T now, right? Like this is who they are. There's no like questioning it. Whereas Red Bull, now they're on the ball more, like they're holding the ball, they're keeping possession. Like these are things that previous Red Bulls teams had no interest in, and Philly on the other side of the coin, down the turnpike, they're all in. Their chips are all in on the energy drink soccer for sure.
7 on-target scoring attempts for Baribeau, 6 goals.
Yeah,
that is stupid.
That's pretty good.
And he by far has the most on-target scoring attempts by Philly so far this year. The next highest is 3, and 4 players have that in Damiani, Lukic, Quinn Sullivan, and Michael Ua. So literally, if you add up Damiani and Lukic, or you just take 2 of the 4, and you get 6. So literally, you would need 3 guys to have more on-target scoring attempts than Baribeau from what we've seen right now with Philadelphia, so far here.
And I think he's outscoring he's still outscoring like a half the league, isn't he? Like the team was.
All right. Well, so hang on. You're having me like hit the back click and things like that. Hang on just a second. All right. So, So goals for Baribeau has 6 on 7 shots, even with Columbus as a team, even with Charlotte as a team, more than Nashville, even with NYCFC, more than Cincinnati, even with DC, more than Red Bulls, more than Atlanta. And so if you added Atlanta and Montreal, then you would have 6. And then you would have and by the way, here you mentioned New England. It would take 6 New Englands to equal 1 Ty Barabo.
That's like that old what was a commercial? And it's funny because I'm seeing the SNL in my head version of it, which was colon blow, I think it was.
Oh yeah.
But remember it would take
It would take 5 scoops, so it's got to be like,
yeah.
frosted mini wheats or something.
Yeah.
So literally, it would take 6 bowls of frosted mini wheats from New England to equal 1 Ty Barabo so far in 2025. That's stupid. That is dumb. Toronto's got 5, so Barabo has more than Toronto. He's even with San Diego, more than St. Louis, even with Colorado, more than Minnesota. It would take 3 Austin FCs to equal 1 Ty Barabo. They've only scored twice this year. More than LAFC, more than RSL, even with Dallas, it would take 2 Portlands to equal 1 Ty Barabo. More than Sporting, it would take 2 Houston Dynamo to equal 1 Ty Barabo, and it would take 3 LA Galaxies to equal 1 Ty Barabo so far this season. That's what we've gotten into, sir, in Philadelphia with your math numbers and your colon blow and your frosted mini wheats, sir.
Which tells you he packs a punch.
See, now I need a rim shot for something like that. See, that's the one drop I don't have. I've got bleeps, I've got drops, but I don't have rim shots. And you gave me a rim shot opportunity that I don't have. Is it too soon to start talking hot seats for anybody in your mind?
No, because it a seat that is hot doesn't mean necessarily a coaching departure is imminent, right? It just means that seat is hot, right?
Yeah.
Like it could take a few games. So, and along those lines, I think it's too early for a coaching change, perhaps, maybe, but I think no. I think seats could be hot for sure.
So then who in your mind, and is there anyone outside of the folks that we've been discussing? So Frazier, Porter.
No, I think Frazier's fine.
Okay.
I would say Porter, Vermees.
Okay. But
maybe Neville.
Well, I mean, hasn't his seat been hot ever since he walked?
It is cold in Portland at times, so he needs that seat warmer for sure.
Yeah, that's true. But
by the way, that's a part of my car now. Like, it's starting to get warmer in the Northeast, but like, my car has the seat warmer and the steering wheel warmer.
Oh, you got a steering wheel warmer?
Yeah, I can't go without it. That's really nice.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I don't have a steering wheel. I've got the seat warmer, and mine's like nuclear hot. I mean, literally, it's like you hit the button, and like 2 seconds later, it's just like.
The first time I used it, I mistakenly thought it matches the heat that's in your car. Right? So I think I had my car at like 70. So I was like, all right, cool. So I just hit the button. I didn't even look at it. And then it's like a microwave on my back. I was like, what is happening? I had it on high. I didn't even realize that I had it on high. So there's like 3, there's high, medium, and low, I think it is.
So it's the 3 bears of seat warmers.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I have like 1 speed, and it's like nuclear. It's just like bang. It's like, oh, okay, fries are ready. I mean, yeah. So I don't have the steering wheel warmer. You've got a car that's a lot younger than a 2019. Then I would imagine.
Yeah, it's not even a year old.
Wow. Okay. All right. So as we've welcomed you back, what else is going on up there with Red Bulls and NYC and everything else that you covered that folks need to know about?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of injuries for Red Bulls to start the season. But I think they're usually a slow starting team anyway. I think NYCFC is a fun story right now. I think what a great goal by Alonso Martinez, right? And they're a team as well. Like, I think they've got some ability to sign some more players, perhaps in the summer. We'll see how that goes. But Yeah, they're riding the youth wave right now, and it's going well for them.
Come on, ride the train and ride it. All right, my friend.
Wait, I have an Atlanta food question for you.
Okay, all right. So we'll pose it to the Twitch pitch as well. So I don't know if people want to trust my food opinions because I have been summarily raked over the proverbial eaten coals. Go for it.
So there's up around my way, well, not really on Long Island, but more in Queens and I think in Manhattan as well. There's a it's called Wonder, right? And they've it's like a food court
Okay.
where they don't really want you to sit there and eat. They want you to rather order it, right? Like either pick it up or order to go.
Okay.
But it's got it's a lot of like there's some Food Network people like Bobby Flay Steaks is part of it, and Michael Simon has a few different restaurants in it as well.
Okay.
But part of it, and I did try it, was Fred's Meat and Bread.
Fred's Meat and Bread. Okay.
Now, is that maybe since you answered that in the form of a question,
Yes.
maybe it isn't an Atlanta staple? I thought it was an Atlanta staple.
Fred's Meat and Bread. I have not heard of Fred's Meat and Bread.
Oh, okay.
Fred's Meat and Bread. Okay, so let me get the background for those that are not familiar. So Fred's Meat and Bread. I'm doing the Google search. Okay, so I'm not going to order now. Oh, Krog Street. Okay, so it's on Krog Street. So it is in Atlanta. It is part of the Atlanta food scene. Michelin guide inspectors travel. So it got Michelin in 23 and 24. And so 23 and 24 Krog. So it's Krog Street Market. Okay. Craving Fred's, but up in New York and New Jersey, we partnered with Wonder, which offers food pickup and delivery to select areas of NYC and New Jersey.
See, we're getting answers here.
Yes, Wonder, and this is from the fredsmeatandbread.com website, all one word. Wonder's a kind of a new dining experience. They replicate restaurant quality dining by partnering with Bobby Flay, Mark Murphy, Michael Simon, and our own Todd Ginsburg. So Ginsburg is Fred's Meat and Bread. Worked with them to recreate some of the most popular dishes from the Fred's menu. Country's coolest food markets, according to Bon Appetit in 2015. But no, I'm not going to have the cauliflower and eggplant banh mi. I'm not going to have that.
No, but see what I had, and so this is like I think David makes the shout out here. So it's really weird. So I understood it at least to be an Atlanta staple or a favorite in Atlanta.
Yeah.
But then what I ordered from them was a cheesesteak.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'm in Queens.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be this Atlanta staple, and they're getting me a cheesesteak from Philly, which was really good.
Okay. So so David knows about Krog. Krog Street Market I know about, but it's been so long since I've been there. I don't know the ins and outs of it. But if David is down with the Krog Street Market and with Fred's, the chicken Philly has American cheese, onions, cherry peppers, and garlic aioli. The Korean cheese. So now they got a bunch of different cheesesteaks here. They have the Korean cheesesteak. They have the Shroomshire cheese steak.
I think I went with that one.
Okay, so the Shroomshire cheesesteak, ribeye, mushrooms, onion, American cheese, provolone, aioli, and Shroomshire sauce. $16.75, at least at Fred's anyway. The chicken and pepperoni palm. Oh, I might be going there. Hand-cut fries. Yeah, the garlic fries, pommes frites and aioli. So you can't go wrong with the fries, Old Bay fries, tartar sauce, barbecue fries, and white barbecue sauce. That would be something that we do. But yeah, Krog Street Market.
The cool thing about what, and I have no, I'm not getting any money from them for shouting them out.
No, but it's
But the cool thing about Wonder is like, so they have all of these different restaurants, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you could I ordered the cheesesteak from there, but another I don't know if it was Mark Murphy or somebody else. They had this great crispy Parmesan potatoes or something.
Okay.
So I could order. You could order from different places. Like I have the app now, and you could order one thing from one place, one thing from another place, like a dessert from this place, and they just bring it all to your door.
Huh?
Because it's all part of the same food court.
Okay. So Krog Street Market. All right. So it is. I know that this will surprise absolutely no one, but this is an eye opener for me when it comes to food here. But yeah. Okay. So Fred's Meat and Bread. All the one thing. So very, very, very cool that you can get Philly cheese from Wonder. and it is dialed up there. Wow, did not know this. Okay, so very cool. So
So we got like half the, well, not half because there's so many teams now, but like that's like 3 different teams in the, or 4 different teams in the Eastern Conference, right? It's from Atlanta. It's a Philly cheesesteak, and you get it in Queens.
Yes. So you have 4 teams in the Eastern Conference. Basically, 25% of the Eastern Conference wrapped up in one particular restaurant.
Yeah.
Okay, so David lives close to Krog Street Market. So definitely, okay. So now, yeah, okay.
So is that the same thing there as Wonder, or is it just like a different version?
I think that David, I'm going to consult you on this one because I don't know. So let us know about Krog Street Market, because he says that Krog Market's a food hall, limited seating. So
yeah.
So that's what you're kind of looking at with all the different restaurants. But I don't know if it is one of those where you can grab from here, and grab from here. But wait a second, wasn't there like a map? I think there was a Fred's Meat and Bread map that gave the layout of what it looks like. See, now this is where we're going, and like we're looking at Fred's Meat and Bread to wrap up the segment. Okay, so
I should have led with that. My bad.
no, it's all right. No, it's perfectly fine. That's the way it always goes. So Fred's and Yalla. So classic sandwiches, fries, and old school sodas from Rye Restaurants. The folks behind the General Muir, Ginsburg, Shelley Sweet, and Jennifer and Ben Johnson. Please visit Fred's and our sister stall at Krog Street Market, Yalla. Okay, so they have Fred's and Yalla, and they're like here. So Yalla is for like falafel and stuff. So that is far too healthy than anything that I would ever eat in my entire life. I would probably go to Fred's and then just get like 19 different things from Fred's and not do. Okay. So David says, yeah, you can get dumplings from one, pizza.
Yeah, see, so similar.
Same setup. And then Abby doing the producing work that she always does. So there's your look at Discover Atlanta Krog Street Market. So that's what we're here for. We workshop these kinds of things. So you're back with us again, 10 o'clock as normal next week.
Yeah.
Good. Welcome back. It's been entirely too long.
Yeah,
and we'll continue talking about everything Major League Soccer on 10 o'clock on Wednesdays. Dylan Butler at Dylan_Butler, MLSsoccer.com, and all the things. So David says it sounds fairly similar to what you're talking about, but maybe not quite the integrated app ordering. So I don't know if you can app order with your setup or not, but apparently
I can, yeah. And they have and they have, so it's funny though, like a friend of mine lives not too far, I thought not too far from the Wonder that I was ordering from in Jackson Heights in Queens, but they have it so set up like it can't be more, I think it's like maybe a mile and a half. Like they don't deliver past a certain point because they want to ensure that the food is hot and fresh.
Yeah.
So he can't get it. But like get it on the app. They had a whole bunch of like, 50% off the first few offers kind of deals. So like you jumped in there and what was I gonna say? Oh, and they say if you want a rate or review, like they'll take, they'll put $3 or $4 on your app too for your next order. So
okay, all right. So basically, they're bribing you, and
Yes.
they want you to say good things, and so you get money
Yes.
off. So enjoy your app, enjoy your Freds, and we'll catch up with you again next week. And like I said, it's great to have you back, my friend. It's been far too long, but looking forward to talking Major League Soccer with you every Wednesday. What's the mug?
Goldfish.
Yes. Be a goldfish. There we go. So Dylan's friends ordering to a closer janitor closet.
That's a good shout out, David. I do that.
Absolutely true. All right. So be safe, my friend. We'll catch up next week.
All right. See ya.
There goes Dylan. So Dylan will be back with us at 10 o'clock on Wednesdays. And so it's great to have Dylan back after the first week of Major League Soccer. And it's also good that we could go down the Fred's rabbit hole. I know that's stuff that we never do here on this show. So squirrel. And we talk Fred's and Krog Street Market and all the things up there with Dylan. So Dylan gets to experience Todd Ginsburg and the Johnsons and everything through Fred's. Very, very cool. All right. So what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, and the gossip, rumor, and innuendo before we get out of here. Once again, coming up at noon, it is Soccer's in Session. We catch up with Chad Griffin from Hebrew and Christian, and we also get to catch up with the Coach Richardson out at Social Circle, go through all of the rankings, all the stories, And a quick reminder, Friday is Oconee County and Jefferson. So I'll be up there for that. So Oconee County and Jefferson on the high school side, I'll be up there for that doubleheader. Then first thing Saturday morning, it will be Academy Soccer with Maddie and Nick at atlutd.com/live before Maddie goes into studio and hangs out with Abe for Atlanta United and FC Cincinnati. So that's the immediate things that are going on here involving us and SDH. All right, now, I meant to talk about the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation. It's the Marshall Islands, the Virgin Islands, Guam, and the Turks and Caicos, August of 2025. And so they're getting to play their first ever set of matches. The Kickstarter campaign is up and running. And once again, they're looking for about $26,000 to make sure that the teams can come to Springdale, Arkansas, and they're going to play on one of the college campuses. I think it's John Brown University, I think, is where they're looking for it. And it will, the 2025 Outrigger Cup, Thursday, August 14th, Saturday, August 16th. Semifinals and a third place playoff in the Outrigger final. So that is, the Kickstarter campaign is up. And so what we will do is we will effort catching up with Matt Webb, Lloyd Hours, and everybody there from the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation, so we can have them on the show, talk about the campaign, talk about what Lloyd's experience was last time he was on the island. So just once again, for edification and for letting everybody know what is going on with the Marshall Islands. So here's the link to the Kickstarter campaign if it is something that you are so inclined. Then obviously with our support that we have for the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation on the whole, like I said, I got scarves over here. That helps out. Got about a dozen scarves over here. That helps out. Got to send one to Ohio. So I actually have to leave the house for that to happen. But once again, great to see this in the next stage of the process. 4-team tournament, the 2025 Outrigger Cup. I'm going to go ahead and leave that up. 2025 Outrigger Cup, August, in Springdale, Arkansas, at John Brown University. Turks and Caicos, Guam, U.S. Virgin Islands, and the Marshall Islands, having to do with the Marshallese population there in the Four Corners. So very, very cool. There's your Kickstarter campaign for our friends with the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation and the 2025 Outrigger Cup. Once again, all right, so what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. Obviously, Open Cup, all those matchups are going to be on YouTube. Go to the U.S. Soccer YouTube channel or section on YouTube. Pick your match. World Cup qualifying at noon on FIFA Plus. Liberia, Tunisia, Central African Republic, Madagascar, and Eswatini in Cameroon. That's all at noon. Once again, YouTube on U.S. Soccer's channel. Crew and Renegades at 6. Actually, let me get the juice boxes and see if there's anything that's completely out of the ordinary. Crew 2 a -152 hosting New York Renegades. Chattanooga FC a -172 hosting Corpus Christi FC. 7 o'clock. App FC is a dog at a +294 hosting One Knox at a -127. Messi and Friends 2 a -109 hosting Miami United at the Erector set at a +210. Richmond Kickers a -323 hosting Virginia Dream at a +670. Lex SC is a -294 hosting Southern Indiana FC. That one's at 730. Sporting Kansas City 2, Des Moines Menace. Des Moines Menace a +158. That line has shifted during the show. The composite headed north of +160. It's now under +160. And Sporting Kansas City to a +131 with all the star power that Des Moines bringing to the table. Little Rock is a +231. Rangers hosting Birmingham Legion at a -106. El Paso Locomotive hosting Harpo's FC at 9 o'clock. And El Paso is a -909. Harpo's is a +1367. Real Monarchs a -164 hosting El Farolito at 9:30 at a +328. Ballard and Spokane Velocity at 10:30. Ballard is a +342. Spokane a -154. And LAFC2 is hosting FC Arizona at 10:30. LAFC2 a -303. Arizona FC a +622. No line for Monterey Bay and International San Francisco. That one is at 10 o'clock tonight. So those are your matchups, 3, 6, 9, 12, 13 matchups, 12 of them with juice boxes, all of them on the U.S. Soccer YouTube channel. Women, DAZN USA, the Women's Champions League at 1:45 and 4, Wolfsburg and Barca, Manchester City and Chelsea. The Women's Cup from Saudi Arabia is at 3 o'clock. Peacock, as we got up, catch up with Jessica Charman. At Brooklyn and Dallas at 7:30. Before that, Tampa Bay and Spokane, that's at 7 o'clock. Both of those are on Peacock. Once again, before we get out of here, gossip, rumor, and innuendo, and everything that's been going on. Thanks to everybody here for hanging out with us this morning. I know we've been flying through everything with Jessica Charman, who is calling a lot of USL stuff. And I know that Dell had wondered what was going on. But, yeah, Jess is now calling a lot of USL action down at Vista, and she's calling Super League. It airs on Peacock, airs on all the USL platforms, on the pluses and all that kind of stuff. But, yeah, pluses and Peacock and World Feed for the NWSL. She's doing a lot of great work down there at Vista. And so that's what she is up to. Yes, she was in Charlotte, but now she's doing the Fort Lauderdale shuttle between Atlanta and Fort Lauderdale. And it's always great when we can catch up with Jess and find out what's going on, because she should be early in the second half of her pickup game that she was plotting to be a part of before she left at 9:30 this morning. So thanks to Jessica Charman. Thanks to Laurel Failer. We do have an update from Laurel, by the way. Laurel is at practice for FC Cincinnati. Miles Robinson back on a pitch, working off to the side individually. And so Pat Noonan described the injury as tightness, upper left leg. And so no Teenage Hadibi, no Gilberto Flores. Maybe you'll have 2 more days to figure out if Miles Robinson's going to be a part of it. She says it also seems unlikely Matt Miazga back in the fold. Not in training during the media portion on Wednesday. And so a group of FC Cincinnati 2 and academy players helped fill in numbers Wednesday to help account for other absences. Denke Chirilla, among the youth and first team training, draft pick and FCC2 midfielder Ben Augie, academy defenders Will Cusel and Connor Stout, as well as unsigned midfield prospect Yamir Del Valle, and one other unidentified academy or FC Cincinnati 2 player. So that's the update from Laurel as she is staring at things at the training ground for FC Cincinnati as they get ready for Atlanta United on the weekend up there at TQL. Okay. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo. Real Madrid stepping up their bid to sign Dean Houston from Bournemouth this summer after he was promoted to Spain's senior squad. 3-letter paper. Take the information at your own peril. Bournemouth leading the race to sign Republic of Ireland keeper Shalman Kelleher from Liverpool, which I find interesting. I'm guessing that Kepa might be just looking at this as a place in the sand to plant a flag until he gets another offer. Saudi club Al Nassr are planning a summer bid for Arsenal center back Gabriel Magalhaes. That's from our friends at Give Me Sport. Newcastle United readying a new contract offer, which would mean doubling or nearly doubling Alexander Isak's salary. Napoli trying to secure a deal for Rasmus Højlund, but can't afford to meet Manchester United's asking price of nearly £50 million from Gazzetta dello Sport. Napoli's Victor Osimhen, currently on loan at Galatasaray, might go to Manchester United as a part of a deal for Højlund. Chelsea considering paying a penalty fee to avoid a £25 million obligation to buy Jadon Sancho this summer following his loan move for Manchester United. Arsenal's prospective new sporting director, Andrea Berta, is keen on Mateus Cunha, who has a release clause at Wolves of £62.5 million. Camavinga open to joining Manchester City this summer amid concerns about his place in the squad at Real Madrid. Unai Emery at Villa is pushing to sign Marco Asensio on a permanent. I know that both Ricky Ricardo and Pars are looking at that one. Arsenal keeping a close eye on the Leroy Sané contract situation at Bayern. He could be available on a free this summer. Kobe Mainu, one of the players United are open to selling this summer to boost their transfer budget. That's from Florian Plettenberg at Sky Germany. Bernardo Silva hopes to stay at Manchester City this summer, see out the final year of his deal. Spurs are one of several clubs interested in Benjamin Kremasky, who Messi is understood to be a big admirer of, to end a sentence in a preposition. Barcelona want to sell Ansu Fati this summer, though the winger rejected at least 4 approaches in January, according to Fabrizio Romano. United, one of several Premier League clubs considering a move for Jobe Bellingham at Sunderland. Crystal Palace plotting a move to sign Hayden Hackney from Middlesbrough during the summer. That's your gossip. That's your stuff. That's a show. Once again, thanks to all of you guys for hanging out with us as you always do as we run everything down every single morning. Thanks to all of you who are part of our Fanaticos membership. Thanks to all of you who come in and hang out in the Twitch pitch and have conversations with each other, have conversations with our guests, and get Dylan acquainted with Krog Street. Thanks to Jess. Thanks to Laurel Failer at Queen City Press. Thanks to Tyler. Thanks to Dylan. Thanks to you. Tomorrow, once again, the Power Hour is at the 10 o'clock. Nino and Nico. We're going to talk about what Nino thinks about what's going on around the world in 30 minutes. Nico Moreno is going to let you know the Pacific perspective of Major League Soccer as we come out of match week 4, get ready for match week number 5. Happy Hump Day, Abby. And happy Hump Day to all of you. Remember, soccer's in session, noon. So in about 45 minutes, back on the network live. And it's going to be catching up with Chad Griffin from Hebron Christian and Heather Richardson from Social Circle. We'll let you know what else is going on in and around the world of high school soccer in the 12 to 1 o'clock hour. Later today, we have a conversation with our friends at Augusta Soccer Club in the UPSL. That'll be posted as a 1v1 and written at soccerdownhere.net. You can also go to soccerdownhere.net, get your SDH network gear, get your attack gear, get your ruckus gear, get your old school gear as well. So you can get all of that there. We will be keeping an ear out for the Tormenta press conference that is supposed to be happening later this afternoon and find out more information there about the future and what the announcement was this morning from USL about ProRel in their future. And we'll keep you posted that we might, depending on guests from other places, we might be catching up with folks from Tormenta either Thursday or Friday, depending on availability, because tomorrow is a match day for them in USL League One. So we'll keep you posted, find out what's going on in Statesboro and what the latest is there when it comes to the new announcement with USL. Am I missing anything? Not that I can think of. And then Friday, we'll get you ready for the weekend. 10 o'clock is the weekly crash pad where everybody wants to come in and talk and say their piece one final time before the matches on the weekend start, can come in and say their piece. So for everybody here at SDH, thanks to all of you guys for hanging out with us once again. Back in a little less than 22 hours, actually, less than 45 minutes. So back in 45 minutes. And we'll talk about everything Soccer's in Session presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. So for everybody here at SDH, see you at the top of the hour where we talk everything high school soccer. And since it's the end of the show, that means we get to do this. Mucho Pati, I'll play it safe. See you in a bit.